I'll watch that one after for sure.
This is not a shot at him, but he's very extra. Like he lie. Everybody know he lie. But they be good lies though.
They do be good lies.
They
Like
be like
what?
great
The Tupac
lies.
picture.
That was one of the best lies ever.
I was shot, and I start running down the hallway to get my shotgun, my sawed-off from the back room, and he shot twice more, and I got shot in the ankle, and then I got shot in the stomach too.
My views of the industry is there's a lot of snakes in it. Game was a snake that won.
For years, the game has been caught telling stories that just don't add up.
I wanna
And the
see what
wild
these lies
part,
are about.
it's not fans exposing him, it's the rappers themselves.
We're gonna get.
I mean, to be fair, he's been chilled, bro. I really heard of the game coming out with these extra random stories, but who is the bigger copper, bro? I feel like the biggest copper in a rap game has to be Fat Joe, Jim Jones. No, not Jim Jones. Why am I including Jim Jones for? Not Jim Jones, sorry. Why did I even think about Jim Jones? Yeah, nah, it's definitely Fat Joe. Fat Joe, yeah. I didn't even mean to say Jim Jones. Yeah, I didn't even mean to say Jim Jones. Definitely Fat Joe, bro. Fat Joe is the biggest capper in the game right now, bro. You know, so to me, I feel like Jim Jones, I mean, I keep saying Jim Jones. Fat Joe might have competition, bro. Might have competition. That guy, Fat Joe, might just have competition. But I feel like Fat Joe wins every time, bro. The game can't be a bigger lie than Fat Joe, bro. The game is not a bigger lie than Fat Joe. Fat Joe is just pure extra, bro. Like, I know the game comes out and says some crazy things sometimes, but I don't even remember a time this guy said something that made me question, like, is this really true? It will say it will exaggerate on some of the things it says. It will say some delusional things for sure, you know. It will say some delusional things, but as far as lying, being a copper, Fat Joe got the throne on that. He got the throne on that.
The most extravagant lies we've ever heard in our lives on this episode.
I'm with you.
This is gonna be amazing.
From claiming he wrote 50 Cent's What Up Gangsta to posting a photoshopped picture with Tupac.
That's not
Photoshop.
That's not fair.
Wait, Photoshop.
To posting a photoshopped picture with Tupac.
The fuck is that supposed to be? Photoshop. Oh hell nah, what? I must have missed out on a lot of the things he said. I don't know, didn't know, and I don't remember anything about Photoshop.
That's
we
not
like it.
That's not fair.
What? You
That's
photoshopped
not
yourself
fair.
on someone else and put a picture out with you and Pac,
It's Pac.
but it's not you.
And to even throwing shade at the very man who gave him his career, Dr. Dre.
And I think that.
Oh, did you watch the clip?
Yes.
You heard him say Kanye did more for me in the last 2 weeks than Dr. Dre did my entire career, right?
Now
That's
the
crazy.
controversy
Yeah, I remember
begins
that
with
part.
one of the game's boldest claims, that he actually wrote part of 50 Cent's classic What Up Gangsta.
You wrote What Up Gangsta for 50.
I didn't write What Up Gangsta for 50. I was in there and part of the influence. And if you know,
Now, if you know
Okay.
hip-hop history, you know how crazy that sounds.
Why are they saying he wrote then? It was just there. I mean, that's believable. That's believable, right? I don't even think the game is a big kappa like that. Fat Joe is a big kappa. I feel like the game just has said some delusional things, but I don't even think it's that bad. I don't even think it's that bad though. The recycling freestyle is funny though, that's for sure. He definitely be recycling his freestyle and just repeats it over and over again non-stop. But the rest, I don't know about the rest, bro. Like, Fat Joe is the one who actually be lying non-stop. The guy just loves lying, bro, and coming up with these fairy tale stories.
That song wasn't just a random track. It was the opening record on Get Rich or Die Tryin', the album that introduced 50 as one of the most dangerous, authentic, and untouchable rappers in the game. To say you had a hand in creating that moment, you better have the receipts. And when the question came up in an interview, the reaction from 50 told the whole story. He didn't just deny it, he laughed. His body language said it all. Like, are you serious right now? For 50, that record was his baby, his style, his pen, his aggression.
Stuff about, like, he said he wrote What Up Gangsta?
What up, gangster? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, bro. He wasn't even around when we did that. Like, that was before you even came into the picture. Like, that's Get Rich or Die Trying.
He said he was an influence. I'll believe 50, bro. 50 ain't gonna lie about shit like that. So the game said he was an influence, and here we go, 50 saying that he wasn't even around.
He didn't even
coming to after that.
Yeah, we didn't even know who he was.
And he wasn't the only one shutting the rumor down. Tony Yaya.
To be fair, yeah, he did come after. Because I think the game came in like 2005. No, 2005 is when he signed the game. The Massacre album, yeah. That makes sense, because that What Up Gangsta from Get Rich or Die Trying is from 2003. In 2003, he wasn't even in G-Unit. The game wasn't even in G-Unit. So to be fair, when you do your research, that does make sense, yeah. Yeah, so it has to be, like, come on. Why would 50 even deny and lie about that?
Someone who was literally in the studio during the making of Get Rich.
Tony Yayo.
Tony
Did I hear that
Yaya.
right? Tony Yayo is crazy, bro. Tony Yayo is crazy.
Who was literally in the studio during the making of Get Rich, didn't mince his words either. His response? You didn't write nothing. Direct, sharp, and impossible to misinterpret. But here's why this claim was such a big deal. According to 50, not only did Game not write What Up Gangsta, his own career wouldn't have existed without the help of both 50 and Dr. Dre handpicked the beats. 50 laid down hooks, and G-Unit sprinkled features all over the documentary. The blueprint was already drawn before Game even set foot in the booth. Think about it. Hate It or Love It and How We Do, two of Game's biggest records, were 50 Cent records originally. They didn't just help him, they built him. Dre's ear, 50's pen, and G-Unit's cosign gave Game the credibility he needed to break out of Compton and into the mainstream.
The songs that he did have was music that I made with Dre, not with Game. How We Do, Hate It or Love It, Church for Thugs, Special, Higher, West Side Story.
So when Game tried to rewrite history later on, suggesting he was responsible for shaping 50's work or carrying himself without those cosigns, it wasn't just revisionist. It felt disrespectful, especially when you're talking about guys like 50 and Dre, who are known for protecting their legacies at all costs. And that's why these claims stung so badly. It wasn't just fans rolling their eyes. It was the very people who stood beside Game at his come-up who were shutting him down publicly. The idea that Game was inflating his role didn't just create friction. It made people wonder, what else has he been lying about? And that question takes us to one of the most infamous parts of Game's mythology, the night he got shot. If the 50 Cent fallout raised eyebrows, then Game's personal survival story raised even more. For years, he's retold the tale of the night he was shot inside his own home, and depending on which version you hear, it starts to sound less like a memory and more like a Hollywood script. So, the core of the story goes like this. In 2001, Game was ambushed, shot multiple times, and left fighting for his life. He says he slipped into a coma, woke up days later, and then decided to dedicate himself fully to rap. On the surface, it's the kind of powerful redemption arc hip-hop loves.
Damn, that sounds like a 50 Cent story to me. He's saying that he influenced that What Up Gangsta song from Get Rich or Die Trying, but that sounds more like he got inspired by that 50 Cent getting shot 9 times story and added to his own to tell that story. Like, what? Sounds more like a 50 Cent story to me. What the hell?
The streets nearly kill you, but the music saves you. But here's the problem. The details never stay the same. Sometimes he says he was shot 5 times.
5 times, you want to come up for 3 days. That's all I read. What was it like waking?
And other times, it jumps to 7. In one version, he claims he was left bleeding out on the floor for hours before anyone found him.
What?
And in another, his brother rushes in almost instantly and saves him. Even the length of the coma shifts. 3 days in one retelling, several weeks in another.
Way to get my shotgun, my sawed off from the back room, and he shot twice more, and I got shot in the ankle, and then I got shot in the stomach too.
In the stomach.
And then I thought he was gonna come up and just,
He got shot in the stomach. You know what the interviewer should have done? The interviewer should have asked him to show his wounds. his gunshot wounds though. That would have been a good one for sure. I don't know about that getting shot in the stomach. I don't even know if he would have made that, even though 50 got shot in pretty critical areas of his part of his body. But I don't even know if he would have made that. Would he made that?
Give me the dome shot or the kill, the kill shot. So I just closed my eyes and I was like.
And look, nobody doubts that he really got shot. The hospital records and news reports confirm that part. But when the details keep changing, the story stops sounding like a
so he did got shot. Okay, fair enough, man.
Testimony and starts sounding like a performance. So naturally, fans began picking apart the contradictions. And that's when the slip-ups became too big to ignore. Take the infamous lyric, "I woke up out the coma, 2001. The problem? Dr. Dre's album 2001 actually dropped in 1999. The timeline just doesn't add up. And when your reputation is built on authenticity, little cracks like that get magnified into major flaws.
I woke up out the coma 2001, around the same time Dre dropped 2001. Game lyric, right?
Yeah, that was a lyric.
Are you about to tell me that 2001 didn't come out in 2001?
It did not.
Came out in 99.
Dreams, dreams, dreams. That's a song, bro. I can't deny it. That is a song. Even though he might have lied in the first couple of bars that you dropped in the song, that is a song. That's one of my favorite songs from the game. Dreams, dreams.
Are you about to tell me that 2001 didn't come out in 2001?
It came out in 99.
And even hip-hop commentators jumped on it. Joe Budden and others couldn't resist clowning him, pointing out how the timeline changes every time Game tells it. To them, it wasn't about whether he really got shot. It was about whether he was exaggerating just to frame himself as the West Coast's answer to 50 Cent's "shot 9 times" story. And that's the real issue here.
That's what I said. Did he get inspired by that story to go out of his way and tell the people he got shot and shit? It sounded more like a 50 story to me.
When your personal story becomes your brand, every inconsistency makes people question everything else you've said. So now, Game already had 2 strikes against his credibility, inflating his role in 50's success and stretching the truth about his own near-death experience. But here's the thing, neither of those missteps would compare to what came next. Because years later, the street is saying, Game didn't just bend the truth about himself, he went after the one man who gave him a career in the first place, Dr. Dre. By the time the Game had already faced questions about his origin story, his shooting, and the Kanye and Dre connection, you'd think he might have been more careful about what he said publicly. But here's the thing, what came next shocked the hip-hop world even more. And one of the most controversial, to many unforgivable statements Game ever made involved his mentor, Dr. Dre, and an unexpected comparison to Kanye West. In a moment that instantly spread across interviews and social media, he claimed, "It's crazy that you did more for me in the last 2 weeks than Dre did for me my whole career."
It's like I get this motivation to Ye, because crazy that Ye did more for me in the last 2 weeks than Dre did for me my whole career. And it's not, it's just...
For fans and industry insiders, that wasn't just another wild Game quote. It felt like betrayal. Because whether you believe every detail or not, one thing is undeniable. Dr. Dre was the architect of Game's career from the very beginning. Let's not forget, Dre signed Game to Aftermath back in 2003. He gave him the production, the mentorship, and most importantly, the placement that set him up for success. Alongside Jimmy Iovine, Dre was the one who aligned him with 50 Cent and
How is he pronouncing the names like that? As far as I know, it's Jimmy Iovine. But I don't know, man. What's the right way to pronounce that man's name? Iovine or Iovine? That's the second one. This is the second time now. You know, Tony Yayo. That's the way I know how to pronounce it. That's the way everyone pronounces. But this man went and said Tony Yayo. What? How is he pronouncing his names though? But yeah, man, interesting fact that I just found out. I guess he got signed by Dr. Dre to Aftermath, and then what? He went from Aftermath to G-Unit.
Unit, a move that guaranteed mainstream visibility,
Okay, so that's what
who
happened.
aligned him with 50 Cent. Alongside Jimmy Iovine, Dre was the one who aligned him with 50 Cent and G-Unit, a move that guaranteed mainstream visibility. The result? The documentary, a 5 times platinum album, Grammy nominations, and a cemented spot in rap history. None of that happens without—
Bro, the game had some pretty dope records, bro. You're telling me that all them records, especially put it on the game. That record, oh my god, the beat was so nasty, bro. Put It On the Game is one of the coldest the game's records I ever heard, bro. Probably the coldest. Is the coldest. Has to be the coldest, bro. And then you got Dreams, you got Hate or Love It, bro. Come on, man. The game had some pretty cool records, bro. Like let's not deny it, G. Like, this guy really had the game on lock. So you're telling me that all that good work that he put out was thanks to Dr. Dre in Fifth? It was all thanks to Dr. Dre in Fifth? I don't doubt that at all. I definitely don't doubt that, because if that's really true, which I believe it is, oh my days, this guy, the game, is one ungrateful guy, bro. Really one ungrateful guy. They really made that man, bro. If anything, I ain't gonna lie, G. Started with the game, we'll put him on, yeah, and then went to G-Unit. He had probably one of the coldest records coming out, probably one of the best career starter. He should have been more grateful, man. Not cool, bro. Not cool, dude. Not cool, dude.
Dre's backing. That's why so many in the hip-hop community reacted instantly. Tony Yayo, for example, didn't mince words when asked about Game's state.
Pisses me off the way he pronounces the name, bro. Tony Yayo, where'd you get that from? He pisses me off how he's pronouncing it, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Can't sit here and take that.
You have a career because of Dr. Dre. You are on record saying, "What the F am I without a Dr. Dre track?"
Wow.
What are you talking about? That's crazy
wild.
that you just S on Dre like that. To Yayo and to countless fans, Game's comment wasn't just reckless, it was ungrateful. But why would he say it in the first place? Some point to lingering tension around the 2022 Super Bowl halftime show.
Why would he say it? He still wouldn't have to say it, and he didn't have any right to say it after what that man done for him, bro. Regardless, G. Anything you want to handle with that man that you might have felt like you was bad or wrong, you could have done that behind doors, bro, not in public. And even though I'm pretty sure Dr. Dre didn't do anything to harm that man, if anything, he just blessed him, put him on, gave him a huge opportunity to be on the spotlight. And yet, you win and bit the hand that fed you, bro. Man, that ain't cool, bro. Not cool, dude. Not cool. Like, honestly, bro. That's just messed up, though.
Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, and yes, even 50 Cent, all took the stage for what became one of the most iconic hip-hop performances ever. But the Game, he was nowhere to be seen. At first, he brushed it off, claiming he wasn't bothered. But later, he admitted that being left out did sting. On podcasts and interviews, he eventually let the truth slip. The snub hurt, and he felt abandoned by Dre and 50 alike. To some, his "Kanye did more for me" comment was less about reality and more about hurt.
Somebody that's hurt speaking. He's hurt. See, in hip hop, we very rarely do we look past the surface.
Still, the damage was done. Even when Game tried to walk back the statement, saying he had been drinking, or that he still considered Dre a blessing, the moment had already left its mark. Yes, he admitted Dre had done things no one else could have for his career. Yes, he said he should have shown more grace. But in hip-hop, once you disrespect a legend, especially your own mentor, those words don't disappear. And so, what many saw as hurt speaking became another crack in Game's credibility. First, it was 50 Cent. Then, it was the shooting story. Now, it was Dre. Each controversy chipped away at his image, and instead of looking like a survivor, he started to look like someone rewriting his own past. And as if that wasn't enough, the next move made things even worse. In an attempt to keep himself tied to West Coast royalty, Game leaned on Tupac's legacy. But the way he did it backfired.
Bro, it gets worse than that. I hope they get to the part where they mention Eminem, bro. He completely made the fool out of himself by mentioning. He first said that he would run if he was to battle with Eminem. He would run, and then years later he switched up and he goes, "Yeah, man, Eminem can't take this heat. You know, Eminem cannot take me on a song for song. Like he cannot take me. He cannot take me." Then he dissed Eminem. I don't know what the hell this man was going through, but he then came for Eminem after he used to show grace and respect for Eminem. Started getting emotional and Drink Champs. You know, even Nora tried to warn him about this and Eminem coming for Eminem, when before you used to say that you would run from a battle rap when it comes to Eminem, and then you go and diss Eminem. Bro, come on, G. Like, what the hell was that all about? I don't know what this man was going through, man. I respect what he's done, definitely. Like, his records back in the day when he first came out, he was the coldest for sure. And all of that was the help of G-Unit and Dr. Dre, you know. And then for you to go and diss Eminem, one of the GOATs, for no reason after you showed respect, bro, that's just wild to me. That's a crazy switch up, man. That's a crazy switch up. So hopefully they'll mention that part. The Tupac part, the Photoshop pic with Tupac, is something new. I never heard of that story before, so we're about to find out, which is pretty interesting to know. Crazy as well. Did he Photoshop a pic with Tupac? What?
A photoshopped image of him and Tupac started circulating online.
That's wild, bro. Yo, no way, brother. Ain't that the same pic that we saw before, though? Like, hey, look, this is the pic. Hold on, let me move out the way. Yo, what is this man doing, bro? Look, ain't this the pic, dog? Yo, it's a whole Mexican Don here, bro. It's literally a Mexican Don here. He replaced his face with a Mexican guy, bro. Nah, G, that is different. The game is different, bro. Hold on, the game is different, bro.
At first glance, some people thought
looking like a paid in full picture. Like, this is wild, bro.
It was real. A never-before-seen picture of Pac standing side by side with the Compton rapper.
No way, no you fucking didn't, bro. No you wasn't that to be with Tupac at the time, bro. I know you was still trying to make it. You was working your way up. You was not that yet, bro. Not until Dr. Dre signed you. And especially when G-Unit put you on. You was not that to be with Pac, bro. You was not that, bro. But you know how big you had to be to even take a pic with Pac like that, though? You could have been a fan, cool, running to him, I guess. That's cool, you know what I'm saying? Could have taken a pic with him. But this personal, up in personal clothes, I don't know about that, bro. Like, that, yeah, nah, bro. That's crazy, bro. That's a wild thing to do.
Type of photo that, if genuine, would have cemented Game's place as an heir to Pac's legacy.
So glad AI wasn't made and invented back then. If AI existed during that time, bro, this man would have been going crazy with some evidence to prove his point.
Hey. But the internet moves fast, and it didn't take long before fans started zooming in. The shadows were off. Pac's
look
chain
at the hands. Look at the hands. This man got a black face with white hands right there on Tupac's shoulder. Like, what is going on? This is different, bro.
It didn't take long before fans started zooming in. The shadows were off. Pac's chain looked copy-pasted. The proportions didn't add up. Within hours, it was exposed as fake.
That's not fair.
What? You photoshopped yourself on someone else and put a picture out with you and Pac.
It's Pac.
Why they keep this footage? They keep adding this footage onto this guy's podcast, like next to this guy's podcast. I don't get it. And this is the time, because I remember the video clearly. This is the time when he was coming for Eminem, when he was dissing Eminem. This was the exact moment. I remember the clip, how he was moving and everything. This is the exact moment when he was saying that he's better than Eminem. I used to think that Eminem was better than me. Nora goes, What you trying to say? You even tried to warn him. You don't want that with M. What the fuck do you mean? Hey, challenge, challenge. I remember the exact same words. I will never forget. And then years before that, he used to say, man, if I was to battle Eminem, I'd run, bro. That switch up is crazy, bro. That switch up is wild to me, bro. To say someone is better than you and then go claim that you're better than them, bro. Even if that's the case, bro, just keep it to yourself, G. But that's never the case. That's never been the case. Considering that even got warned about coming for M, that was never the case, bro.
But it's not you.
What was meant as a tribute instantly
became a whole Mexican face, bro. You went and replaced the whole Mexican face, bro. This is wild, bro. Brody down here looking like Eddie Guerrero back in the day. Like, this is crazy.
Became a meme. Blogs roasted it, message boards lit up, and fans accused Game of trying too hard. Instead of looking like Pac's successor, he looked like someone desperately forcing the comparison. And the timing made it worse. Game had just fallen out with Dre and was losing credibility with the industry. The Photoshop was supposed to be a reminder, I'm still part of this West Coast legacy. But instead, it became evidence that his spot wasn't as secure as he wanted people to believe. Even Pac's fans, who usually welcome tributes and references, were vocal in their disappointment. To them, Tupac wasn't just an icon, he was sacred. Manipulating his image, even with good intentions, felt like exploitation. If Pac was alive, he wouldn't need Photoshop. One fan wrote online. That single line summed up the backlash. Real recognized real, and this move didn't feel real at all. But here's the twist. Not every move Game made was about lies or beef. Some of them were about something deeper, clinging to relevance. And that chase led him straight out of Dre's shadow, past the ghost of Tupac, and right into the orbit of very prominent names in rap history, Kendrick Lamar and Eminem. And you know, when it comes to the Game, feuds aren't just side notes, they've defined his...
Okay, so yeah, I figured they would mention this part when it came for Eminem. Yeah, good. Let's get to the interesting part now. That switch up is crazy. I already called it, so yeah.
Entire career. Beyond the well-known clashes with 50 Cent and Dr. Dre, there's a longer pattern that shows a man constantly battling for relevance, often at the cost of his own credibility. And nowhere is this clearer than in the stories of Kendrick Lamar and Eminem. Kendrick Lamar, for example, started out by showing nothing but respect. On Black Boy Fly, he gave Game a salute, and Game himself witnessed Snoop Dogg passing the torch to Kendrick, a symbolic moment for the next generation of West Coast hip-hop. The two collaborated on tracks, shared stages, and for a time, it looked like Game had established himself as the
Bro, this was a meaningful, monumental time for Kendrick Lamar, man. Shout out Kendrick, bro. You know, he earned that throne. He owned the West Coast throne, bro. And he's one of the calmest, chilled guys in the game. That's why that album, Good Kid in Mad City, made so much sense. The name of it made so much sense. He was really that good kid in a mad city. You know, it wasn't really a gangbanger. Didn't have to be a gangbanger to still run West Coast like the way he does to earn the throne. It didn't have to be a gangster. It didn't have to be a tough guy or nothing. He's a cool, chill dude, man. Who just wanted to make music. And through his music and talent, for someone who lived in West Coast in such a, you know, hood, rough area, right? He really made his way. He made his way to earn that spot. He made his way to earn that spot in the West Coast, man. So shout out Kendrick, bro, the GOAT.
Between eras, but Game has rarely been satisfied with just respect. Even with Kendrick's admiration, whispers began to surface that he tried to downplay Kendrick's skills, whether from competitiveness, jealousy, or just a hunger to keep his name sharp in the spotlight. And if that sounds familiar, it should. Because the same cycle played out with Eminem. At first, Game couldn't praise Eminem enough. He called him the only rapper nobody ever wants a problem with, and even admitted, "I used to think Eminem was better than me."
Eminem is Eminem. If you notice in hip hop, Eminem is the only rapper that nobody ever wants a problem with, including myself, man. Eminem is like the most lyrically insane. Even when I was going at 50 and me and Dre wasn't seeing eye to eye, man, I stayed away from the white.
Yet years later, he flipped the script, challenging Eminem to a versus, dismissing his relevance and dropping disses.
How is this man pronouncing these words? What's this? I think this is an AI voice, right? This could be an AI voice. I'm starting to think it's an AI voice. Versus. Bro speaks perfect English, but he can't pronounce certain simple words, bro. Sounds like a Native American, but how you pronouncing these words like that? Versus. Bro, what is going on? Tony Yayo, Jimmy Ivon, what? Bro, this is I've come to read. This has to be an AI voice, bro. This has to be an AI voice. I've just come to realize 50 minutes in, bro.
That felt less like real anger and more like a publicity stunt.
I think Eminem was better than me.
So what you saying right now?
He's not. Hey, challenge it.
Game, you don't want to go versus against
Yes,
Eminem.
I do. What do you
He even got the warning, bro. He gave him the warning as well. Imagine the interviewer giving you a warning, bro. That's wild.
Yeah, I do.
And then this tendency, admiration turned confrontation, respect turned rivalry, is at the heart of Game's story. With Kendrick, it surfaced during the Kendrick Versus Drake feud, where Game threw his weight behind Drake, calling him his brother, and skipping a West Coast Unity show hosted by Kendrick. With Eminem, it was about trying to bait hip-hop's most untouchable figure into a battle that never came. But the result? Both times, Game ended up on the outside looking in. When Kendrick performed alongside Dre, Snoop, and Eminem at the 2022 Super Bowl halftime show,
they performed? That must
Game was left out. He admitted it's.
Oh yeah. That's the part where he got left out. Okay, fair enough.
Even calling Kendrick a safe pick. And when he dissed Eminem, thinking the internet would blow up.
That was crazy.
Game dissed Eminem on a song called The Black Slim Shady.
Right.
You heard it?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
How can you diss Eminem? He sold 16 million records. You're not bigger than 50, you're not bigger than Eminem.
Facts.
You dropped a 20-minute Eminem record and nobody really paid attention to it.
M's
20, did he say 20 minutes? Wait, what? For what? For what, bro? You thought that the length of the song would have made you a better rapper than Eminem, bro? Eminem could have dropped a record of 1 minute dissing you, and you would have still clapped you, bro. That's how dangerous Eminem is. You could drop a 20, 30, 1 hour record dissing Eminem, bro. Bro could have just dropped a 2-minute song and still destroy you. This is how dangerous Eminem is. Like, you don't understand the level. This guy is really, really lyrical. A savage lyrical MC, bro. Like, I don't think this guy understands the levels and skill and ability that Eminem is above him, bro. Like, what was the purpose on that, bro? What was the point on that?
Response was silence. M brushed it off on Instagram Live, while fans clowned Game for trying too hard. And now, some fans are saying the Game has a pattern. He takes respect and turns it into rivalry. He stirs controversy to keep his name alive. Sometimes it works, sometimes it backfires. But every time, it reinforces the same image. A talented rapper whose biggest battles often come from his own need to prove he still matters. So here is where the story takes another turn. The Game being called out by a rapper named Spar.
So here's how the rapper The Game scammed me into sending him $4,000 for a verse. So I made a beat for him to rap over, and he was gonna record a verse and then send it back to me for $4,000. I thought it was legit because I previously...
Whoa, wait, this happened? What is going on, bro? What is happening here? Yo. Nah, bro, scamming your own peoples is wild, bro. As someone, listen, I wouldn't even get to that point in my life, bro. If I'm doing so well financially and my career is nice, I will never get to that point where I'm so money hungry. I start scamming my own peoples, my supporters, bro. I've been hearing streamers doing that as well, bro, which is definitely not cool. I don't give a fuck, bro. Like, bro, as much as you might like money, as much as you may love making money, bro, just keep making money off your own shit, bro. I would never get to a point where I start scamming my own peoples, the people that support me, bro. That's just messed up, bro. You think that's really cool to do, bro? It's not, bro. It's not, bro. Oh, I'm just trying to make some money. Still, bro, like, it's not cool. If I'm gonna scam somebody, that's when I'm drawing the line, bro. Like, I'm not doing that, bro. I refuse. That's just wrong. These are the supporters that actually helped you get where you went, where you are. Yeah, the reason why you're doing well, why you are where you are. Bro, that's not
paid him to post one of my new songs on his story.
Spar says he paid for a feature, but never got what was promised, and he wasn't alone. A fan commented, "Game charging $4,000 for a verse? Bro is down bad." To some, this wasn't the same Game who once stood on stage as a West Coast hero. It was a different picture, an artist hustling not for the culture, but for survival. The accusations stacked up, and with every new claim, the distance between his glory days and his reality grew wider. And whether he saw it as business or desperation, one thing was clear. The legend that once symbolized Compton pride was now being questioned in ways fans never imagined. Now let's switch the story a bit more. Controversies weren't the only thing making people question Game's legacy. There was something else. Something that had been there from the very beginning. After the $4,000 controversy, the pattern was becoming clear. First, it was credibility, then loyalty, and now reputation. And just when it seemed like the Game might regroup, another habit came into focus. One that had always been there, but now drew sharper criticism. And that is name dropping. You know where it gets interesting? Game publicly saying he does not need name dropping.
Someone running a fade back there? Does not need to name drop, right?
I don't need to. You wanna know why? You wanna know why I
forget what it was.
And that's where most rappers start to lose patience. The Game has earned a reputation for constantly name-dropping heavyweights like Dr. Dre, 50 Cent, Eminem, and others. It became a signature move. At first, it felt like respect. A hungry kid from Compton tipping his hat to the giants who inspired him. But over time, that respect turned into a pattern, and eventually, a punchline. Fans and fellow rappers alike noticed. Memes circulated, jokes spread. Instead of standing as his own legend, Game sometimes seemed to rely on the weight of other people's names to stay relevant. But that's where the vibe shifted. Fans are saying it wasn't just about lyrical skill anymore. It was about identity. Was he truly carving his own lane, or forever leaning on the shadows of others? What started as homage slowly became habit, and what began as respect now invited ridicule. His references weren't just casual nods. They became part of the narrative he was building, shaping how audiences saw him, and sometimes how they judged him. From this point, each story, each claim, each controversy added another layer to the public perception of the Game. From Dre to 50, from Pac to M, contradictions and debates followed him, leaving fans and peers to decide what was real and what was embellishment. The more he spoke, the more scrutiny he faced. Each line dissected, every boast weighed against his history and his actions, forcing people to question where fact ended and fabrication began. And brings us to a central question: is the Game's legacy defined by his undeniable talent, or by the narratives he crafts around it? His career reflects both. A mixture of skill, influence, and complex storytelling, creating a legacy that remains compelling, debated, and impossible to ignore. It's a legacy built on contradictions, a story in which truth and myth constantly collide, leaving fans perpetually guessing, arguing, and ultimately fascinated by the man behind the music.
That's wild, bro. That is wild. I gotta see this Young Fox situation.